everybody, welcome back to Cricket Tracker's special show In the Air with me, Nivedna. Prabhu, what a first day of the first test match it has been. We're definitely going to be giving you all the updates that's happened in this clash between India and Sri Lanka. I'll also have my guest Pratyay Tiwari join me in the studio as well. But before that, let's take a quick look at the score card as well as to where they left off on day one. 357 for 6. Rishabh Pant, of course, there's so much to talk about him with the kind of performance he's had. 96 or 97, just fell short of 4 runs. But there's going to be so much to be talking about. Lekin sabse pehle, welcome back to everyone. Aapko kya laga about the first day? How did it pan out according to you? Yes, it was a big day today for Virat Kohli. Unfortunately, he couldn't capitalize that into a half century or century. But nonetheless, 45 runs is, of course, crucial as well. So, Pratyay, welcome back. Let's start off with that. He, of course, contributed with those 45 runs. But, of course, it is another, that wicket especially. Even he was perplexed for a minute after getting out. What was all that about? And the whole number 3 position as well.
Well, see, I think this was not the first time when I actually saw Virat Kohli reacting the way he did after being bowled by a spinner, because I remember there was this dismissal when England had come to India and Moeen Ali had actually got his wicket and he was equally perplexed, probably a
Yeah.
little bit more. I think, yes, that ball just did enough and that turned just enough as it should have. And Lasat Tembuldenia, I think he was chuffed as well after taking the big wicket, because Virat Kohli, I mean, he was looking very fluent. And that has been a characteristic, I mean, despite all the talk of 71st century, him not being able to get to the triple figure mark. I think whenever he has played, whenever he has come out, he has always looked very settled. It could be a 20-run knock, it could be a 50-run knock, but the characteristic has been that it has looked very settled. He has looked very fluent, and whatever his stay has been, it has looked good. So that was again the case today. But again, as I said, that you want yourself to convert these starts, because once you get your eyes in, once you play 70, 80 odd balls, and you understand what the pitch is doing, what the bowlers are doing, what the ball is doing, then you want to bank on that. So I think again a little bit disappointed by the fact that he was not able to convert. But I think that was actually the story for, if you actually look at the entire scoring card of India, that was the story for everyone. 28 odd, 33 odd at for the openers. So again, not a case of them being able to capitalize upon that start. So of course, I mean, it was Virat Kohli's special day. It was a good knock. It was a good composed knock, but not what you would want probably him to do in his 100th Test match. Maybe a bigger innings loading. That is what you would expect in the second innings, if at all. India would need that. Right now they're in the driver's seat, so you don't know how second innings would play out. But yes, this day was stolen by absolutely Rishabh Pant, Virat Kohli's day. But the highlight was definitely Rishabh Pant.
Okay, so now when somebody like Pratyay is talking about Rishabh Pant, I just have to give everybody a little backstory, because I think cut to the fact that when we did see the kind of shots that he's played, Pratyay was always talking about in the perspective of what Pant is capable of. But sometimes we never see that kind of show, and I think as an Indian cricket fan, sometimes those reactions and emotions happen. So, cut. Let's take that own review of yours. It was in a Test series that we were talking about. Cut from that to seeing this performance today. How would you summarize that?
Not just that, I mean, even if in between, if you see, I mean, he got a brilliant century in Cape Town. India was bowled out for 198. He had scored 100 in that. And see, this is what I mean. Exactly, this is the pun that you want India to have, because look at the strike rate. I mean, you will not term this as a test innings. I mean, nearly 100 strike rate, 9 4s, 4 6s, completely dominated the bowlers. And the
Yeah.
way he was hitting, I mean, towards the fag end of the innings, when he got those 40, 50 runs toward the last half of those, they just came in a blink of an eye. I mean, if there was a chance that if you had gone for a brisk walk, maybe of 15, 20 minutes, you would have left him somewhere else. And by the time you came, you saw him that he's approaching the century. And the way he was hitting, I mean, not just because when he starts owning the game, Pant does not give anything to the bowlers, because the shots, I mean, 22 odd of the over of Lasith Ambuldenia completely took him to the cleaners, back to back sixes, followed by a four, then two, and then four. So that is what Pant can do. And again, I mean, it was terrible. I mean, as a fan, of course, as his, and he himself was dejected. I mean, the walk that he took told everything, that how disappointed he was to miss out on that, because this was not the first time that he had actually, not managed to get a triple figure. It was the fifth nervous 90, and he has got 4 centuries. So when you factor in that, probably he could have easily had 9 centuries. It's a very young career that you're talking about, and he has 5 centuries, but 5 nervous 90s and only 4 centuries. So I think that this is one thing that he will have to take care of. He is not a cricketer who is worried about things. But the thing is that when you get to that 90 to 100, we have seen a lot of batters, even the greatest of them all, Sachin Tendulkar. Even he had a lot of nervous 90s. So I think this is one factor that he would need to probably look in, because you don't want to do all the hard work and then miss out on getting that triple figure. But today, I mean, the ball striking that he showed was absolutely sensational, and that is the punt that you want to see. The shot that he played, I think, was a little, I mean, maybe he was tired or something. Maybe just the new ball was also taken, so not being able to fathom that, and just it went through his defense. But I still will say that it was one top knock, and that exactly is the reason why India is so dominantly positioned right now in this test match.
Okay, so that is, of course, the report card review of Pant's performance. And of course, we had to go into so much of detail because, like Pratyay pointed out, if you look at that strike rate, you wouldn't actually think twice that if this is the test format that is actually going on. लेकिन आप सबको क्या लगता है with the way, he has, of course, had, this great innings today. But on the other hand, Pant as a test player, his journey. आप सब, if there are Rishabh Pant fans out there or just in general Indian cricket fans or cricket fans as well who would like to analyze that for me and also give your opinion, tell me that in the comments. We'll probably take one or two during the show. Another star performer. Now, this is also, a kind of player who's not had enough of opportunities. People would have loved to see him a lot more, but there's one thing about him is he's always stepped up when Team India has required him. No surprises for guessing. Hanuma Vihari. He's once again performing at number three, 58 runs. Could have wanted to capitalize that into more. But what is it about his temperament, his style of play, Pratyay, that is so impressive in the test format? One player that you would also like to keep watching in the test format. I mean, I enjoy seeing him play. What about you?
No doubt. I mean, supreme talent, and I think very correctly pointed out. I mean, he has always stepped up, because if you look at the kind of positions he has been asked to play, he has been asked to open in Australia. Then he was suddenly saving a test match in Sydney, and that valiant draw. The iconic partnership between him and Ravichandran Ashwin, and today you see him doing what he is doing at number three in the absence of Cheteshwar Pujara, who has actually held that position for so long that if you actually take back into the memory, you would not even remember the last time you saw someone else playing there. So I think it's not easy. I mean, to walk into this side and fill in those big boots that Cheteshwar Pujara has actually left. Temperamentally extremely solid. He has done the hard grind and the graft in the domestic circuit, and he is someone who brings in a lot of experience. I mean, he has not played like a 50 or 70 test matches, but the amount of cricket that he has played at the first class level, at the domestic level, that all comes in with him. So that experience all the time whenever he is batting, or any innings that you pick up of his, that experience just goes on to show. And not just that, I mean, overseas as well, he has been a big contributor. And I think if he keeps on giving these kind of performances, yes, there's this word that Cheteshwar Pujara, Ajinkya Rahane, all of these players are still being looked in. But with these kind of performances, Hanuma Vihari is definitely not going to make it easy for their comeback, because, as I say, that in this team, once you go out, the biggest challenge is not about hitting and regaining form. The biggest challenge is to displace someone who has already taken your place, because there are so many people fighting for that one spot. So I think Hanuma Vihari has already made a case. A very solid innings again, a proper test batting. And there was someone who was on commentary who pointed out at that point of time that, much like Pujara, when he would bat, you feel very secure, you feel very convinced, calm. That is exactly the calm and composure that Hanuma Vihari was able to bring in. So whoever that was, but that was a very correct assessment, and I feel that exactly was the feeling, because when you were watching him bat, you were exactly feeling very composed. You were feeling that yes, India is in a safe position, and that is exactly what was reminiscent of Cheteshwar Pujara as well. So I think a brilliant audition for number three, and he has always said, Hanuma Vihari himself, that he wants to bat at this position, because he is the best batter. When you're talking about number three, he is actually an ideal candidate, much better than your number six or number five batter. So I think great case made for himself, and only forward for him to go from here.
Right, and I think that curious case of number three, with the fact that you just pointed about Pujara as well when we were talking about it in the pre-match, to not see Rahani's name or Pujara's name in the test format is weird. But like you see the kind of talent, one spot is vacant, then you have somebody filling it in, and you don't even feel like the void of a veteran duo like Rahani and Pujara are missing. So there are two ways of looking at it. There's a lot of talent, but there's also a lot of competition as well, which means that every opportunity that you get, you have to capitalize on it. A quick word on the fact that, of course, it's too soon to be talking about Shreyas Iyer's test career, but we know what he managed to do on his debut. What do you think really went wrong over there today? If you just had a quick word on, the kind of shots that he played.
See, it was a good innings again. As I said, that was actually the highlight of all the Indian batters today. Keeping aside Pant, I think everyone got a start. But the thing was that how many of them were able to convert it. Similar was
Right.
again the story with him. But again, the crucial partnership that he stuck around for, that was again crucial. And see, again, he is also one of those players, only 2 3 test matches old into the setup as far as international is concerned, but he has played a lot of domestic cricket again, and he averages over 50 there, has great numbers, very promising numbers in the first class circuit. And then he comes and what he does on against New Zealand, a debut century on debut. So I think he has again also made a case for himself. The only problem was that he was fighting with too many spots. Now with that congestion that was created because team management was backing Rahane and Pujara. Now with that congestion eased out, I think that he is definitely one of the players who will who will manage to seal that spot, number 4, number 5 spot in the Indian ranks. And I think again today, if you assess into his innings, the partnership that he struck was crucial. Yes, again, if he would could have managed to convert that start, he would have been happier. But still very young into his international career, and there's a long way for him to go as well. And I mean, if he can in these series, because India is also not going to play too many test matches this year. So I think it is important in a sense or two for Shreyas Iyer to use all these opportunities and make it a case, because only three to five test matches in this year. After this, they have one scheduled this rescheduled test match against England, and then a couple more. So I think he has got limited chances in 2022 as far as the test batting is concerned, but he has done that in limited overs, and there's no reason why he cannot do it in the red ball format.
Okay, so that is a quick report card on what is really transpired for India today. We will also talk about the lack of discipline of Sri Lankan bowlers, but we'll give Pratyay a little break and just go into what we have on our social tracker over here. Quick reactions we'll take on that, and then we'll come to the Sri Lankan aspect of today's game. यहाँ पे अगर देखा जाए, KL Rahul has tweeted, "Congratulations, King Kohli. Been an honor playing by your side. Looking forward to the next 100 matches." Virat Kohli is the first cricketer to play 100 tests for a country after its franchise T20 league was launched. Picture to be framed by Kohli and Anushka Sharma. 8,000 test runs for King Kohli. Well played, Bihari. 58 runs from 128 balls. A new start to his journey, and he has started well. Superb innings. Okay, just like our in-house report card, looks like everybody on social trackers also, of course, impressed with all those performances. And I think we did speak about this milestone that Virat would be able to achieve. He did 38 runs, and Pratyay said, once you reach the caliber of Kohli's stature, you're just like, okay, I'll just be making new milestones and just adding them to my pocket. I don't think it'll make a big difference. But like as Indian cricket fans and just cricket fans all over the world, I guess everybody's beaming, like how Kohli and Anushka are smiling in that picture. It just reflects, we're so happy to see our sports persons do so well and get the kind of milestones, especially with the fact that it was Rahul Dravid who gave him that special felicitation, and he did point out that it wouldn't have been
Absolutely.
possible without the support of the team as well as his family members. So of course a very special moment for a player like Kohli. But however, before we wrap up, let's talk a little bit about what really went wrong for Sri Lanka over there. You did say that the discipline was a little bit it kind of lacked from their end. Is that something that they would have to really focus on tomorrow?
See, I think they started really well because at the start they were still. I mean, when the ball was doing a few things, they were still looking good. But the lack of, I think, penetration in terms of taking quick wickets, because every wicket, if you actually see the scorecard, the downside, of course, when we are talking about the batting was, as I said, that the batters got start, but they were not able to convert. But the plus side was also that all of them getting starts meant that India was building regular partnerships. So it was never a case that they were losing too many quick wickets, or they just kind of slumped from something like 100 for 3 to 120 for 6 or something of that sort, which is why. And then Rishabh Pant happened, and then we saw how things went from there. So I think that 96 run knock has definitely put India miles ahead in this game. But yes, I think I mean, what do you even say? Of course they lack discipline, but when Rishabh Pant, someone like him, starts to bat in his full repertoire, when he starts to show it off, and when he is in his full swing, there are not too many bowlers in the world who can even think or dare of stopping him. And I think that was exactly the case, because once that acceleration that he put on, because you were still feeling that yes, India would easily manage to probably go at stumps close to 300, but definitely not 350. I mean, that was not in the sight at one stage. But that acceleration from Rishabh Pant took them beyond 350, I think. So I think that was one of the major reasons. And of course, Sri Lankan bowlers, the new ball did the trick, but with the old ball, a lot of credit. I mean, once the ball got older, a lot of credit to the batters, Shreyas Iyer, even for that matter, Ravindra Jadeja, the crucial partnership, and of course, not to forget Pant, as we have always been talking about him. I mean, he was the highlight of day one. So I think that was something where Sri Lankans were a little bit unlucky, and I think also Lahiro Kumara. I think that injury that actually toned them down a little bit, because had they been having him, then they could have thought that okay, he was one of their premier bowlers, but with him out, they were also a bowler short. So
Right.
two, three things for them to worry. But now I'm afraid that this match is actually too far ahead from their reach, because 357 and there is still batting to come, because as I said that India is batting deep with Jayant Yadav still to come. There is Ashwin already, there's Jadeja as well. So I mean, if India manages to put on even say even 100 more runs from here, you're
Yeah.
probably giving too big a total for Sri Lanka to surmount. So I think India is absolutely in the boxing seat, and if they can add 100 more runs from here, they can start to smell a few things already or by the second day itself. So too many worries for Sri Lanka, nothing to worry for India as of now.
Okay, and that is probably the best way to kind of summarize what has really transpired on day one of the first test match between India and Sri Lanka. I want to thank Pratyay for joining me in the studios and all of you as well. But don't forget to join us once again tomorrow. We will be back to see what's going to be happening on day two. Until then, of course, stay tuned to Cricket Tracker for the latest news in the world of cricket.